Masked armed men showed up at a school in our community, and I reshared a post to let my Instagram followers know. I'm Arizona State Senator Analise Ortiz, and
Arizona State Senator Analise Ortiz might be in some very big trouble. So I'm sure many of you are aware that more and more lawmakers, they're starting to post on their social media where Homeland Security and other federal agents are operating.
And Arizona Republicans have now filed an ethics complaint against me for that.
One of the top questions I get on my YouTube channel is, how are all of these lawmakers able to post the literal exact locations of where Homeland Security is operating? How are they not getting in trouble? Well, we might actually have somebody who will get in trouble. So we're going to dig into all of this. We're going to take another look at her social media post. We're also going to take a look at her new statements. We have a lot to dig into. Now, before we start the video, make sure to please like this video. It's the #1 way you guys are helping this channel, but it also helps others see the videos as well, and I think people want to see what's going on with this lawmaker. We might see some other lawmakers also get in trouble for posts like this.
Masked armed men showed up at a school in our community, and I reshared a post to let my Instagram followers know. I'm Arizona State Senator Analise Ortiz, and Arizona Republicans have now filed an ethics complaint against me for that. They are threatening to expel me from the state Senate, and if they don't have the votes to expel me, they want to lock me out of the Senate, strip me from my committees, and take away my office and my assistant.
And don't worry, we actually have the ethics complaint. I'll get to that in a second, but first I want to talk about what she said. The first thing I want to point out is this Arizona State Senator will be the first lawmaker who actually gets in trouble for posting what she posted on social media, within the context of posting ICE activity. However, the way she's getting in trouble is not what many people would expect, but I think it's the only way we will really see lawmakers be held accountable, such as she won't be going to jail, she won't be getting any fines, however, she just won't have a job.
Both of which belong to the people of LD24. This is an alarming escalation of authoritarian tactics and intimidation. Arizona Republicans want masked men to carry out police operations in secret. They want Arizonans terrified to talk about what we are witnessing with our friends, family, and neighbors.
Hey, real quick, if you haven't already, make sure to please subscribe to my channel so I can keep you guys updated with this story and other lawmakers who are pretty much posting the exact same thing. I truly do think more and more lawmakers will probably get in trouble, and I want to keep you guys updated, so please subscribe. So the Arizona State Senator keeps implying these are armed, masked men. So it's not even us saying that, it's her. So when you look at her initial social media post, we have to question, what is the point of this? What are you actually trying to accomplish here?
Masked armed men showed up at a school in our community, and I reshared a post to let my Instagram followers know.
So again, now we know what this post is. You don't really have to assume. She quite literally says it's to warn people in the area. So when you look at social media posts like this, you have to analyze and evaluate what is the intent. And is she breaking the law? Is she not breaking the law? This is where a lot of people are questioning when lawmakers post stuff like this, and the intent is to hopefully get people to avoid the area because you have these armed masked men. Could they be held accountable? Could they be charged? Well, now we have this. An ethics complaint. And not only an ethics complaint, we're talking about a call to action to literally remove that Arizona State Senator from her position. So these have quite the consequences. Some might argue maybe even worse than getting a fine or, things like that. But here's what it says. Senator Ortiz's actions were not only reckless, they were dangerous, said Senator Hoffman. By publicly posting alerts about federal law enforcement activity, she actively tipped off individuals being pursued by ICE, jeopardizing the safety of officers and law-abiding citizens.
Senator Ortiz is standing firm, telling me her posts are protected speech.
I am not intimidated by this because what I did was simply alert my community to stay away from an area where ICE could be to keep themselves safe.
So, as you can see, she's not denying anything, and I really want to make that clear. Where we have a division is that according to her, this is all protected speech. According to the Republican position, you do have protected speech, but in this specific situation, the speech could have led to violence or put other people in danger. You guys can leave your comments down below how you feel about all of this.
This eerily reflects the darkest moments in world history. The Trump administration is violating the Constitution every day. The future of our democracy depends on bravery. I choose to remain brave.
Looking further into the complaint, it actually talks about the real-time broadcasting, and this is where Homeland Security has a problem. They don't have an issue with you filming them, but it's the real-time filming, giving the real-time updates, people following ICE agents. We see it all the time, more so in Los Angeles. I cover it on my channel, but in the ethics complaint, it highlights that. And then it says, when called out, she doubled down with inflammatory language instead of showing accountability for endangering lives.
The U.S. Department of Homeland Security told me in a statement that Senator Ortiz is siding with criminals over American citizens, writing, quote, notifying the public about ICE law enforcement operations endangers law enforcement and weakens American national security. This certainly looks like obstruction of justice.
Okay, so I also want to make this very clear. Homeland Security is not involved with this. However, we do see other cases throughout the United States where politicians, really right-leaning politicians, they will try to reinforce the actions or statements of Homeland Security. So over in Nashville, Homeland Security is well aware of what's going on with the mayor of Nashville, where there are some red flags in how he's dealing with ICE activity. So because of that, you have a congressman who says, you know what? Homeland Security knows about this. I'm going to do my own investigation as well. So I don't want to say these Republicans feel emboldened, but they are just supporting what Homeland Security has already said. So you have a bit of influence here from Homeland Security without a doubt. And by the way, I do think this is another crucial detail. The Arizona State Senate, it is a Republican-controlled Senate. So when you have an outlier like one Democrat who's posting what she's posting, and they've already been called out by Homeland Security, obviously Republicans, they lean more in the favor of supporting these deportation operations. I'm not surprised in a Republican-controlled Senate, this is happening right now.
Senator Ortiz is right. She has a First Amendment right to talk about, to share publicly available, publicly viewable information.
Alex Morey is at the Freedom Forum, a nonpartisan nonprofit focused on First Amendment education.
It's very much protected by the First Amendment.
So this is where we get into the gray area. On my YouTube channel, we have everything from ICE is in the area to, hey, there's 9 cop cars, 3 ICE agents, 2 FBI agents. They're currently raiding this home at this time. Stay out of the area. Make sure to call me and we're going to follow them. That's how broad of the spectrum it is when it comes to what these lawmakers say and don't say. And when it comes to freedom of speech, I will agree. If you see an ICE agent in the area and you want to take a picture and post it on Instagram, that's one thing. But when you start to lay out the details and the intent is I want people to avoid the area and you are a lawmaker, that's where Homeland Security starts to pay attention, and that's where her coworkers are also like, hold on, why are you posting that? What's the intent? It looks a little reckless.
The assaults on ICE officers are high. The doxing of ICE officers are at an all-time high. And people always complain, some of you here say, why are they wearing masks? Because they're trying to protect themselves and their families. They got a dangerous job to do, and they're being doxed every day across this country.
Another very gray area is this. Are we going to put leaking their information in the same category as taking a picture of them and posting it on the internet? Or does it go as far as, you know, this is their family, this is where they live, this is their personal information? This is why I truly think a lot of lawmakers have not really been held accountable by Homeland Security. If they really wanted to, they probably could start pursuing people within the courtroom. But the only time we're seeing where Homeland Security feels confident in charging anyone, especially a lawmaker, is if there's like physical contact, like an assault with LaMonica MacGyver over in New Jersey, whose trial is going to start, I think, in November. But again, this happens all the time, way more than we know or think. On my YouTube channel alone, I've covered so many cases. I've even accidentally found some lawmakers filming these Homeland Security agents and nobody knew about it. So I think there's a bit of trouble right now for the Trump administration trying to figure out, is it worth pursuing them or do we just put them on blast?
I've experienced myself 100 times, but I'm willing to take that because of the position I hold. And, we're not running a popularity contest. We're trying to enforce the laws enacted by Congress, doing it in a smart, effective way. So, yeah, the results are up, but it won't be tolerated. We've already shown you put a hands on an ICE officer, you can be prosecuted to the highest extent of the law. So we're not playing with that with any threats against ICE officers. Doxing, we're going to look at doxing. We're going to take action on that also.
And again, I'm just being honest, there really hasn't been that much action being taken on lawmakers. There has been some action on these protesters that I cover on my YouTube channel. It's way easier for the Trump administration to prove an assault if there's physical contact, stuff like that. The Trump administration can handle that. But when it comes to proving the intent behind something, because we know this Arizona lawmaker, we know what the intent was, but then the Trump administration has to prove because of what she posted, the mission was ruined. That's very difficult to prove because, again, you get into the whole First Amendment stuff. So let me know how you guys feel about all of this. I'm really just trying to paint a picture here. We have quite the distinction in terminology. You have the leaking of information, but then you have the leaking of information that's right in front of you that everybody can see. That's where we have this big distinction.
Darrell Hill at the ACLU of Arizona agreed, saying Senator Ortiz has a right to share information with her constituents.
This is just normal part of being a member of society, being a member of the public, and a normal expression of First Amendment rights and activities.
The U.S. Department of Homeland Security told me in a statement that Senator Ortiz is...
As I was filming this video, Senator Analise Ortiz just posted this TikTok. So we're going to get a raw reaction. The caption says, "Thank you for your support. Let's all stay brave." Let's see what she has to say.
For all of the support. If you're new here, I'm Arizona State Senator Analise Ortiz. I serve the people of Maryvale and Glendale, and Republicans are currently trying to kick me out of the state Senate because I reshared a post to my Instagram story that ICE had been seen outside of an elementary.
Okay, so this is very interesting. From what I was gathering, this was her post. So now she's saying this is a reshared post, and the question is, well, who was the original poster? Do you have connections to them? The mayor in Nashville right now has been subpoenaed and audited to see his communications behind groups where they could be harboring illegal immigrants. I'm not making any assumptions here, but if Republicans want to take things another step further, they could look into subpoenas and look into why are you reposting this group. This group could be tied to some sort of activity that they're not supposed to be doing. This is where we start to get into the weeds a little bit. These are just my initial thoughts.
School. If you feel compelled to help, I think it's important to remember that this attack is about so much more than me. The Republicans are attacking our very fundamental freedom to speak about what we are witnessing happening in our communities. So it's important to stand strong and continue to speak out against authoritarian tactics and lawlessness that we are seeing from the Trump administration.
According to the document that we saw, let me pull that up real quick. The reason has nothing to do with the First Amendment. The reason why they're upset was reckless actions. They were dangerous. And by publicly posting alerts about federal law enforcement activity, she actively tipped off individuals. So it has more to do with the intent, not so much the constitutional protections as what she's trying to argue here. That's just the vibe I'm getting. I'm trying to be as down the middle as I can, but I have always said on my channel, I think eventually a lawmaker will get in trouble. And if you are a Democrat in a predominant or more dominant held Republican positions as the senators, I do think you were eventually going to get in trouble. At least one lawmaker who's a Democrat.
If you do want to reach out to the Republican senators, I'll put information in the comments about how to reach them to make your voice heard. And finally, I am running for re-election to the state Senate in 2026. I am an elected official who commits to a co-governance model, working with my community to bring them to the decision-making table. And I truly believe that model terrifies Republicans. It's why they're trying to kick me out and stop me from doing my job. They're scared of our collective power. I'll also leave a link of how you can join our...
This is just my initial opinion. Democrats right now, when it comes to not liking deportations, it's at an all-time high. Or when it comes to not liking ICE, it's at an all-time high. So from a statistical perspective, imagine if I'm running as a Democrat. You pretty much cannot say, I want deportations, I like ICE. Statistically speaking, the majority of Democrats don't like that. I talked about it in another video where we cited the Pew Research Center, where Republicans, everything flipped. Now they love deportations. On the flip side, Democrats don't. So whenever I make these videos, I try to go into it and not assume this is all for publicity or for an election coming up. But what it looks like to me, and you can leave your comments down below, she is now promoting her election and how you can donate. But the main point I'm trying to make is, as a Democrat, from her position, she pretty much cannot say she likes ICE. And so, yeah, that's just how it goes with politics. A lot of times, even with Republicans, we might not know what the true intentions are, but one thing we do know, and the Trump administration does this, the Trump administration tomorrow can't be like, you know what, deportations, we're going to stop deporting people. He can't do that because he'll lose all of his voters. This is how politics is. You got to look at the stats. You got to look at what the people want. That is the reason why we have politicians, to represent the population to get something they want. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know how you feel about Analise Ortiz or other lawmakers who are posting what she's posting. Again, a lot of this has to do with intent, not so much warning people that, hey, there are cops in the area. It's more so, hey, there are cops in the area, don't go there because there's this amount of people in the area. I think you know what I'm saying. Thank you guys so much. God bless, and we'll see you all later.